our K1 visa to reach Bogota, Colombia. It's in transit. It's in an airplane. We are just like you guys waiting for our K1 visa to get adjudicated. Okay, our NOA-1 letter is dated April 18th, 2022, excuse me. And our NOA-2 letter is dated May 30th, 2023. So that's what, 407 days from NOA-1 to NOA-2. And then it was 115 days from our NOA-2 to the case number being assigned to us by the MVC. And then a couple of days after that, I got the FTP email saying our case was in transit to Bogota. But this video, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is about what questions could you possibly be asked at the U.S. Embassy in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Okay, these are questions, these are real questions that were asked a beneficiary at the U.S. Embassy in Rio de Janeiro, in beautiful Brazil. Come on along and I'll go over them with you right now. So, question number one for the beneficiary, for the beautiful bride-to-be. The question was, how did you meet your fiancé? How did you meet each other? How did you meet your American citizen sponsor? Question number two, have you been married before? Have you been married before, Mrs. Beneficiary, Miss Beneficiary? Question number three, has your sponsor been married before? Has he or she been married before? The other question was, do you have any children? Well, if you had kids, right, that were not from the sponsor, they were from the beneficiary, those kids would be K2 derivatives, and they would have been included in the I-129F. Okay? If you have kids that are between you, Mr. Sponsor, and your beneficiary, they are U.S. citizens. So they don't need a visa. They just get a U.S. passport. So the question was, do you have any children? The other question was, how many times have you, Mr. Sponsor, visited your beneficiary here in Brazil? And when did you visit? Good. It's a good point, right? I've been to Bogota, Colombia probably 5 times to see Karina over the past 3 years. And I lived with her for 5 months, 10 months, etc. And I have evidence to prove that, too. I got all the receipts and the boarding passes and all that jazz. The other question that was asked is, have you ever had a problem with the police or the law? So, Miss Beneficiary, Mr. Beneficiary in Brazil, the embassy officer asked, have you ever had any trouble with the Brazilian police? Or any police, anywhere? And that was it. And it was over within about, what, 8 minutes. And her visa was approved. They took her passport. And now she's booked her flight to the United States. And she's going to get on a plane and fly to the USA. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Those were questions that were asked at the U.S. Embassy in Rio de Janeiro in front of the scary immigration officer. And it was easy. How did you meet your fiancé? Have you been married before? Has he been married before? Do you have any kids? Does she have any kids? How many times has your sponsor visited you in Brazil? And have you ever had any trouble with the police? Those were the questions. And hang in there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We will see you soon in the United States of America with your K1 visa or K2 visa in your passports, flying on an airplane to the United States. Don't forget, I do a live stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Okay? Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. It's free information on the K1 visa process. Now, I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't work for USCIS or I don't work for the State Department, but I've been through 2 K1 visas successfully, a K2 successfully, and a spousal visa. So I know how the process works like the back of my hand. So if you got any questions, join us on the live stream. All right, guys? See you then. And be patient during this process. You gotta be patient. Don't be in a hurry. Thanks for watching.
I'll be back.
Your love is king.